Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Welcome to this in the middle of the week Wednesday where we deal with the hard stuff of recovery. And currently we are on a series within the series that's entitled The Authentic Self. And so today I just want to expound a little bit more on that topic and to cover basically like the benefits of being in touch with my authentic self. Now, this is a series within a series, and the series being the 90-day destiny transformation, where we are starving our past and our history, connecting to the life that Christ had, that Christ died for us to have, and also the life that Christ sanctified and ordained us for before we were created. So my name is Sheila Rollins, and I am the founder of H.U.L.A Ministries, Entertainment, and Associates, Inc. And on this YouTube, we are Overcomers Anonymous, where we support anyone designed to overcome anything. We do it with Jesus Christ being our power and what He's accomplished for us on the cross. I'm not going to be very long tonight. I have here 7 basic benefits. Now, for the most part, when we are operated in the unauthentic self, we're basically operated in the person that perhaps our trauma has replaced in us from taking away our authentic self. The person that maybe is pissed off, the person that's unforgiving, the person that feels unsafe in the world. Well, however, because of my connection with God, it has very much put me in a position with my authentic self. And when we go a little bit further, I'll tell you what else it's done for me as well. Okay, so let me get started. So these are not necessarily in order. But remember, we do what we do because of Jesus Christ being a higher power. And so for us to get all that He's offered, we must be obedient to His word. And I encourage the King James Version, because when I asked, that's what He told me. And also the 10 Commandments, where He admonishes us to keep the 7th-day Sabbath. So I got to get rid of these glasses. And perhaps I should put on some eyeglasses. But I think I'm okay because it's written in my handwriting. So I should be able to see it. So, all right. So, at first I was thinking that perhaps, I don't know whether I'm connected with my authentic self because of my connection with God, or whichever one came first. But now that I really think about it, that the connection with God came first. And as basically I learned and unlearned particular behaviors, it kind of stripped away from the person that I was. It kind of went into hiding, because of this earth experience. And so basically, my connection with God is bringing me closer. Now, I can't say that I have arrived, and I wish that I could say that I have arrived and I'm right there, but nope. I'm not, y'all. If you're struggling, trust me when I tell you, I'm struggling as well, And so I've been on the battlefield for years, but I refuse to be a churchgoer that's not growing. When I think about that, I think about the tree in the Bible. I believe it was a fig tree that it was barren, and Jesus wanted a piece of fruit, and it was barren, and He cursed the tree. And basically, He cursed it because it was not bearing any fruit. And so likewise with our relationship with God, we can come to Christ as we are. But however, He's expected us to be able to be obedient to His words, such as allowing Him to give us beauty for ashes. In other words, giving Him all of our junk, our pain, our shame, our suffering, the bad examples that we have, in which we go by sometimes honoring a parent or a caregiver over God, basically mimicking some of their behaviors, good, bad, or indifferent. And so basically coming into my own, which Originally, y'all, it was scary. I'm not gonna lie. It was very, very scary. So one of the things that made it scary for me was that I didn't really know why my parents was separated and later divorced. And so I actually felt as a kid, and this was terrible when I reflect on it. I actually thought as a kid that there was something that I could do that was so bad that would send my parents away forever. And so you can imagine, like the way that I was responding to that is that I wanted to disappear. I really did. I wanted to act like I really was not there. I wanted to be so good, so quiet, and just not make no noise. But I had a couple compelling situations that was basically um, keeping me out of that mode. One, dealing with like some unequalness in the family, like some partiality. The other one is that I had to battle with my knucklehead brother almost all of my life. It seemed like it was all of my life, but it was actually from like maybe age, I'm gonna say about maybe 10 to about 14, which in both cases it came out to be in my best interest, because the Bible says that all things work together for a good, and it did, because the partiality taught me not to be partial with my children. I have a daughter that is 9 years older than my second child. Well, my third child. My second child passed, but my third child, and then she was 11 years older than my youngest child. And so while I didn't believe that I treated them partially, they thought that I favored my son more. But the truth of the matter was that all of them were special to me. They really were. Being a kid, being pregnant at 14 years old, when I had my daughter, I wanted a daughter. I really wanted a doll, for real. When I say a doll, a human doll. Come on, I'm 14 years old. I wanted to comb her hair and dress her up and, show her around. It made me like more mature in some ways, and so, but as she got older and I had the other children, like I said, the partiality part, or not to be partial, really, really kicked in. I can remember my kids, the little kids, going through like the terrible twos and threes, and they wanted to like bite her, kick her, spit on her. You know how little kids do, and I wouldn't allow that. And I would let her know, you have my full approval to discipline them. And she became like a second mother to them, which was really good, because sometimes that kind of sort of gave me a break. But I still was not dealing with partiality. So whatever it is that they saw that they thought was partial, um, I think that given the situation, would have dealt with it in the same way. For example, whatever it was that they thought that I treated my son better, had they done the same thing, I would have did the same thing in response. Um, well, I guess I really shouldn't say, okay, I wasn't reacting. I was responding. And so, like I said, given the same situation, I would have did the same thing. I would have treated them the same way. But anyhow, kids have certain things in their mind. So a lot of times, no matter what you say about it, they are going to still walk away and believe what they believe. But in my mind, because I grew up with partiality, that, just like not running a married man or not cheating, these are things that I decided upon when I was a kid. I didn't just decide upon it when I became a parent. I decided on those things before I was even old enough to even be involved in certain predicaments. But anyhow, let's get started with the first one. So I always knew that, and this is number one, I always knew that the base of me was a kind person, a loving and a caring person. Even though, just like anybody else, I could be mean, I could be stubborn, I could be unforgiving, I could be smart mouth, I could be flippant, I could be all of those things. But the base of me was being kind, loving, and caring. And so being it with my authentic self, I'm sorry, not unauthentic, my authentic self, it put me in a place that I could be as kind as I wanted to be. Right now in my life, for me, it's all about pleasing God. It's not even so much about me pleasing myself, even though if it does not conflict with what God would have me, at least I say that in my heart. That's my desire. If it does not conflict with what God would have me, I'm saying with my own, what I want myself. I do it. But if it conflicts, I like to think that I surrender to the will of God. So, okay. Like sometimes I can remember like being around like some friends and having a situation with another person, and because my friends expected me to act maybe in an indifferent way to a person or mad or whatever, I would follow suit, because it was what was expected of me. But however, today it's like I don't want no parts of like anger and bitterness or anything like that, because I've been there in my life. I mean, I have been so bitter, that Christ had to help me to dig deep to uncover some of my own dirt in order to where I can get to the place where I could not be mad and I could not be bitter. And so, yeah, so being my authentic self has helped me basically to confront being mad. Okay, and so kind of number 2 and number 3 kind of goes together. And number 3 being is letting go. It's allowed me to let go of unforgiveness. Like I already said, when the Lord showed me some of my junk, it helped me to like say, okay, God, you're right. I've been a no good, dirty, stinking rat. Okay, so, all right. I surrender, you win, I forgive. Check out my other YouTube, y'all. It is The Pursuit to Christ, and the playlist on that YouTube and this one, being H.U.L.A Ministries Overcomers Anonymous. I have a lot there for you. Comedy, if you like that. Cooking, if you like that. Tutorials, if you like that. Relationship stuff, exercise stuff, and all that. So check that out. So, all right, so let's move on. Let's move on to the third one. Oh, that was the third one. The fourth one. And I guess these are kind of like always all kind of running together now. So, all right. So instead of being who somebody else expects me to be, and to me, that would be just reacting. When you respond, that surprises people, because a lot of times when they do silly stuff to you, crazy stuff, dumb stuff, they already know that they deserve an adverse reaction for that. But however, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do the unexpected. To treat them with love and kindness, even when their attitude stinks. Or maybe they slighted me in some kind of way, that I don't want to give them what they expect. I still want to pray for people, hold them up in high esteem before God, and hopefully they be doing that to me as well, which kind of fulfills the obligation where God says that we should love others as we love ourselves. So if I am basically taking care of myself mentally, physically, spiritually, sexually, and all those things, not just reacting, but responding to myself. Because to react sometimes means that basically I will fall into a negative behavior or something as a result of maybe some feeling that I had mentally, physically, spiritually, sexually, or whatever. And it's not my thing. So I just rather, stay into responding instead of reacting. So, okay. So before we get to the sixth thing, I just want to say, if you haven't already, subscribe. If it's your first time coming here, hello and welcome, welcome. But if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We are on, I believe this is number, it may be 80. All right. So check out the other YouTubes in this series prior to now. You may be surprised. You may be able to add more to what I've already said, and that's fine. Just do it in the comment section, which is below the title. Just scroll below and you'll come to a section that says comment. Comment there. You know, you can ask a question. Tell me whether or not you agree. Tell me whether or not the video helped you. Or just say hello. Okay, but either way, holla at a sister. Okay, so the sixth one, and this right here was a very, very hard one for me. But basically, for the people who has offended me, like all the way from as far back as I can remember up until now, I have held them in condemnation. In other words, to look at them that like they haven't changed. They will never change, you know, and the prospects of that, or even me even thinking such thing, is just out of touch. But however, to hold somebody else in condemnation, you know, whether they ask for forgiveness or not, it's not really loving myself. Because remember, God says that we should love others as we love ourselves. So therefore, I must put my brothers and sisters, whether they consider themselves my brothers and sisters, or that I'm their brother and sister, I have to treat them like a brother and sister, because in order for me to obey my God, I have to do what he says. You know, it's not about what I think, what I feel, or anything. I surrender, like the Bible says, like pulling down strongholds and any knowledge or anything that wars against the knowledge of God, you know. And all this information will be in the description, which is next to the title. So check out the scriptures for this evening too that goes with those this video. So all right. So condemnation, like I said, that was really, really hard for me. It went all together with the shame of being violated. You know, it also went with the pain of being violated, because I felt like the violation, or the person that violated me, didn't esteem me high enough to give me their best. And so basically what I got is a wrong behavior. But however, the other side of the coin is this. If I didn't do anything to that person, I did something to somebody else. And so keep it in mind that me, myself, I do negative things as well. There's times where people may be struggling to forgive me, you know, and looking at me in condemnation. In other words, putting me in a box and making it look like I cannot change. But I gotta wrap this video up, y'all. It looks like a storm is kind of brewing, so I gotta wrap this up. So okay, the last and final one is that, like I said, I don't know which one came first, the connection with Christ or my authentic self. But however, being in my authentic self has helped me to enjoy my connection with God. And so basically, be with us tomorrow. Be with us tomorrow while we deal with the topic, the sensitive self, and basically how I cope with being so sensitive. Okay, so listen, I love you. Check out my food fundraisers if you haven't already. That reasonably priced, finger looking good, vegan meat alternatives, sides, non-dairy ice cream, and other desserts. Okay, so look, I love you, and I'll see you in the next YouTube. Now to him that is able to keep you from falling, and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise God, our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and ever. I love you. See you in the next YouTube. Remember, to deal with the authentic self, being it Wednesday, it's a hard thing of recovery, because all of the abuse, maltreatment, or whatever it is, has caused us to go into hiding and bring out a presenter, which is a pseudo or a fake self. So let us embrace our authentic self. See you in the next YouTube.